Welcome to the Passion Project Revolution, where we explore the highs and lows of creating passion projects. Whether it is a book you have a desire to write, a community service you want to create, a charity you want to set up, or sharing your own passions by teaching others how to do it, be inspired by the stories from people who have been there and done it. You know, everyone has at least one passion project, if not more, within them. It's held within their soul energy. And if, after listening to today's podcast, you want to discover what passion projects lie within your soul, then I invite you to download the Soul Creation Collage Workshop for free and start unlocking the potential within you. You'll find the link in the information section. But for now, sit back and enjoy this inspiring installment of the Passion Project Revolution. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Passion Project Revolution. And today we have the beautiful Alysia Gupta. And Alysia is the creator and founder of the Nurture Garden, which is her company. And SoulSchool is her passion project that's been running for 8 months now. So she's a special needs teacher who has designed a 6-week program for children and families exploring emotions and gratitude, journaling, breathing and meditation, marvelous mistakes, I love that, and feel better and feel good, and the amazingness of me. So that's all interweaved with Alicia's unique energies and magic as well. So Alysia, what was it that inspired you to set up the Nurture Garden?
So I've been a teacher for 16 years and I've been working in education for over 18 years. And over definitely the past few years, I've seen more and more children struggling, more and more families struggling with anxiety, with worries, with lack of attendance, not wanting to go to school. And what I've seen within the education system is not enough focus on well-being, not enough focus on, how we can regulate, not enough focus. Something like 1 hour every half term is set aside to do this kind of work. And it just isn't enough. It really is not enough. It should be daily practices. So what I've developed within my school, I've been very lucky to be in a wonderful, supportive school for the past 16 years, who have allowed me to kind of integrate my ideas into the school system. So very nurturing approach, real big focus on feelings and emotion, really big focus on regulation. All the teachers have a nurturing classroom, a nurturing approach. And I wanted to get that further afield because, I can reach the children in my school, but when I was talking to parents, when I was talking to other children in different schools, that is not the case. And there are a lot of schools who haven't got that nurturing approach, don't understand a lot about behaviour as a form of communication. So it was like, how am I going to get this out there to more and more people? So I wrote basically what I thought children needed to learn from as young as possible. So this is for children from the age of 5 all the way up to, I've actually got a girl who is 19 who is doing the course. So it's for everybody. Parents do it alongside the children, which I think is super important because they're learning as they go along. Because another thing that I feel passionate about is over my 16 years in education and as a special needs teacher, I have been on so many training courses. I've learned so much about child development, about the brain, about your nervous system, about the nurturing approach, about trauma. I have learned all of these skills from my 16 years. And being a mum myself, I don't think that you can get a better learning than you being a mum. But as parents, we don't get given a manual on how to parent. And most of us, our model is from our parents.
Yeah.
So if our parents, through no fault of their own, usually have used, parenting techniques that maybe we wouldn't use now, chastisement, punishment, those kind of techniques, then that's what we do. We model that. So I just felt it was really important that all of my skills and knowledge that I've got to, you know, put that together and share that with parents in a non-judgmental, you know, way, to kind of help them maybe break the cycle of what they've known during their kind of early years.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, there's a couple of things that you've really hit on there. One is that, as parents, you're right, we don't come with a manual. I think it was Dr. Miriam Stoppard's book on having a baby, and it was all about, how to feed them, how to change a nappy, how to put them to bed. There's nothing about the emotional side of parenting, and I didn't have great role models. My parents, I had a very traumatic childhood, and so I figured that if I did everything opposite to what my parents did, then maybe I can turn out kids that are okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fortunately, that worked. But, back in those days, there just wasn't the support for parents in
Mhm.
terms of how you nurture these little human beings. So
Mhm.
it's great that this project is kind of flowing out to support parents in that. So well done with that. But
Mhm.
also something else I wanted to pick up on was the school and the school system. A few years ago, I went into a school in Surrey with a friend of mine, and we wanted to teach the children and the teachers some very basic energy practices that would really help with the kids. And the difficulty that we had in getting into schools was, well, the national curriculum is so kind of
Rigid.
rigid. We just don't have the time to do it. And we were like, just let us come in and show you a few quick techniques. It's not going to, 5 minutes in the morning is all it's going to take. And it was amazing the difference that it made to those kids, and also to teachers, because
Mhm.
they were able to pick up some really quick techniques
Mhm.
that actually worked. And the
Yeah.
resistance to some of those teachers at first were like, oh my goodness.
Mm. But
But
they're in this
yeah,
system that is so rigid. Most teachers go into teaching because they love children. They
yeah,
love children and they want to help children.
yeah.
However, they're thrown into this system, which is like one box fits all. You know, every child needs to be taught this way, and this is what you teach every child. And it's a very big focus on what they can't do, which I don't. I mean, I'm totally out of alignment with the national curriculum now, and totally out of alignment with the education
Mm,
system, and that's why I'm leaving
mm,
the education system,
mm.
because it just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so broken, and
mm,
what's happening is these children, and I love children for this, are pushing against it,
yeah,
and we're seeing more and more big behaviours in primary school, more and more big behaviours in high school, because they know it's not right for them.
yeah.
And that's why they don't want to go to school.
Mm,
And especially children who are neurodiverse, so anybody who has got a diagnosis of ADHD or autism or dyslexia or anything like that, um, they're even more attuned to what they know is right and what they know is not right for them and their
yeah,
bodies and their, nervous system. So you're right, it's not that the teachers don't want to, it's the system. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
the
yeah,
school system. And unless you've got a head teacher who is supportive of the nurturing
yeah,
approach,
yeah,
then it doesn't feed down to
yeah,
the rest
yeah.
of the school.
So what's your vision for Soul School?
Oh, my vision for Soul School, it's already like started
Yeah,
in motion, which is fabulous, but it's to get it into schools as well. So at the moment I'm doing online classes
yeah,
for primary age and secondary age children.
yeah,
But I'm now going into primary schools and teaching classes of children,
yeah,
these sessions, and that's kind of my dream. My dream is just for everyone to experience Soul School,
yeah,
and for everyone to have the skills and strategies
yeah,
that I learned later on in life. You know, my mom, absolutely beautiful, beautiful lady, a little bit like you, had a traumatic childhood, did the opposite. So very gentle parenting. She was a play therapist. She worked for the NSPCC. So I've always been around that nurture. However, self-care for her was non-existent.
mm,
Okay, she did not. It was always children first, children
Mm.
first, children first. So I always put everyone first. You know, the family, the dog,
Mm.
you know, everyone, my work, everything.
Mm.
Until it got to a point where I felt like I was burning out.
Mm.
And um and then met some amazing people like Victoria Spencer, you know, I think you know Vic, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Who helped me through my awakening, and you know, that connection with
Mm.
source and connection with myself, and learning all these kind of strategies over the past few years, which are simple practices
Yeah,
that anyone can do,
yeah,
but make the most difference. They're just
yeah,
incredible difference
yeah.
to your well-being.
Yeah, yeah, because it's not just about what are the things that we can teach our children. It's actually what can we teach ourselves as parents and also for the teachers. So that, you know, it's really important for teachers to kind of learn some of these strategies so that they don't burn out, and also for the
Mhm.
parents as well.
Mhm.
Because it's like when you put yourself first and your own self-care first, it's like you become a better parent, you become a better teacher, you know. um so yeah, I absolutely love that idea of, you know, it's like you have to start with yourself, whether you're a
Yeah.
parent or a teacher, and then you can share the practices with the
That's
children.
yeah, that's a perception shift that can be quite tough.
Yeah,
That is a perception
yeah,
shift that I've had quite a lot of resistance with, because when people contact me, it's usually in crisis point,
yeah,
especially parents,
yeah,
and they're always like, you know, fix my child. You know, my child is, you know, displaying all these behaviors, and you know, it's always about the parents first.
yeah,
Always.
yeah,
It's always, you know, when I go into a class and there's a lot of big behaviors in there, I always look to the adults in the classroom first, and how they are feeling and what energy they're giving off, because children are just little sponges,
yeah,
just like sponging it
yeah,
all up, and they are so sensitive to energies, and the super sensitive beings. They're incredible.
yeah.
But they pick up negativity just
Oh
as
yeah,
much as they pick up positivity.
yeah.
So you're so right there.
Mm.
You're so right. It is about the adults first, but I think like it's got to be done in a gentle way and not
Yeah,
a judgmental, this
yeah,
is your fault, you
yeah.
know, because parents have so much guilt, adults have so much guilt, and it's just, it stops them dead, you
Yeah,
know, because of it hangs so heavy on them.
yeah,
So
yeah. It wasn't until my kids got, you know, safely into their mid-20s and 30s that I was like, "Oh my God, you know, I'm all right. So it's okay. I've done a good job." You know, breathing a sigh of
yeah.
relief, you know. Because it is, it's like you're always, you know, I think particularly when you don't have the support of a nurturing community, and you know, in an ideal world you'd have, you know, generational support, but if you don't have that, then you kind of feel like you're on
Mhm.
your own and you're making it up as you go along,
Mhm.
which kind of leads me nicely into, let's talk a little bit about how you sort of made that transition from being a teacher to setting up your own business, the
Mm.
Nurture Garden. How did you manage that
It's
transition?
definitely been a process for me, because like I was telling you before, I've never been in business. I honestly thought I was going to be a teacher for the rest of my life. That was my calling. I love children. I adore, you know, teaching. I thought that was going to be it until I was 65 and then retire, and that would be me. However, that is not the path that I was meant to be on. um, and it hasn't been a smooth journey. It has been a roller coaster. What really helped me is I first started doing a tropic business, which is a
Hmm.
skincare business. And that was when I was on maternity leave, because I didn't want to go back to work full time. Because this is another crazy thing. We have children and we're encouraged to go back to work, go back to work, go back to work. You know, when every part of you is saying, be with this baby, you know, it is. It was for me anyway. It definitely was for me. So I was kind of working out ways that I could, you know, work part time, and I was introduced to this beautiful like skincare company that was very in alignment to all of my
Mm.
values. Um, and I thought I'll give it a go. And what Tropic did is it showed me that I can own my own business and I
Mm.
can run my own business. Um, that I am capable, if I'm passionate about something and I believe in it, that is what gives you the drive. And also, I have not done this by myself. Like, we don't have to do everything by ourselves. You were talking before, community. We need to build these networks, these communities of people who can help. I've been so lucky. I've got one of my best friends is a graphic designer. One of my other best friends can do websites, and I've supported their families with what my skills are, which, because they've got children with special needs. So it's been this kind of, community approach. And I've had to learn. I have Googled stuff. I've watched YouTube videos. It certainly hasn't been easy for me. I have dyslexia as well, which means that my brain can be very disorganized. So, and scatty. I can be quite scatty. My time management's really poor. So I've had to really learn how to best run my business and tune into kind of the cycles of it. Like, you don't have to be go, 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 go all the time. And I think we feel like we have to be, especially when we're so passionate. We feel like we have to fill all our time, with doing. And again, that will lead to burnout. So it's about listening to yourself and listening to when you feel like going and when you feel like resting, when you feel like, doing all the things that fill up your soul. So
it's a very different way of being in business to what we've kind of learned growing up, being employed, in an environment where it is, you might be employed 9 to 5, but it's go, go, go all the time. And I know, teachers don't clock off at 3:30. It's, you're always kind of working. And I know that, some of the employers that I had in the past, well, your contract said 9 to 5, but it's like, but you're paid a lot of money. So the expectation is that you're going to work 50, 60, 70 hours a week in order to fulfill your role. And it's like, this is crazy. So when you start, developing your own passion project and your own business, and you start kind of trying it a different way, it can feel very strange.
It's
very
the
strange
distance that you get. And I have had multiple breakdowns. I'm telling you now, multiple. I'm like, I can't do this. I've got a very supportive husband who I'm like, I can't, this is, I just can't do it. I can't do, and you are going to do that. You are going to have those times where you feel like an imposter, like, who do I think I am? Who do I think I am to be stood in front of these people? And you get that all the time. And that's why the kind of inner work is just so important.
It is. And like you said, having a community around you. And that's one of the visions that I have with this Passion Project Revolution. It's not just a podcast. What I'm going to be setting up is a community. So there's going to be programs, there's going to be ways for people to come in and learn the skills. But at the heart of it is a community of other like-minded people where they can draw on each other's skills and experience and just not feel alone with it.
And be there to boost each other up. I mean, I've found my little tribe, quite naturally. I've found my little tribe of amazing women, and we're there for each other on our down days. We're there for each other to celebrate each other for our wins, no matter how small. And that is just that is so important. It's to keep you driving forward, to keep you going when things get tough. And I would say nobody has to do anything alone, and we shouldn't be alone. We're all just seeking connections. That's what that's where it all comes from. But we're taught such separation.
What do you think's been your biggest challenge in setting up the Nurture Garden?
I would say imposter syndrome has been a really big one to overcome. Who do I think I am to support these people? Because I work with a lot of professionals, people with PhDs, specialist teachers who are now starting to show interest in SoulSchool. And that's scary because I'm like, I haven't got the qualifications. I've got my teaching degree in Senko and 16 years experience, working with children and families. But it's not even that. It's like my whole life has led up to this point.
Yeah.
So even when I was a child, I knew I was going to work with children.
Yeah.
Children with special needs were always drawn to me, even when I was a young child. Um, it's just always been in me. So, but we're kind of taught that you need these qualifications, you need these paper,
Yeah.
these bits of paper.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying anything about qualifications, you know, if you were, you know, there is a place for them and that is incredible. However, having a qualification doesn't mean that you are the right person for doing whatever it is. So that's been really difficult. Learning business. So numbers for me are very abstract. So learning how to keep track of finances, learning how to, you know, with your tax and all of that has been a really big journey. And that's what I've needed a lot of support with. Because even though it's a passion, it is my business as well. And you've got to treat it like a business.
Yeah.
If you're serious, if you are serious about it. So yeah, they've been my two biggest challenges, but there has been many,
Yeah.
many along the way, but it's worth it.
It
It's
is.
so worth it. It is. It's worth the pain and it's worth the struggle. You know, it's really worth it when you get those wins and you get those families and you get those testimonials and you know, you get those, you know, people who say that you've changed their life. You know, I don't think there's anything more special than that.
Yeah,
So
absolutely, absolutely. And what you're kind of reminding me of, or triggering a memory of me, I uh, set up a project many years ago. It was a crisis house, mental health crisis house, and it was like the first of its kind ever in the UK, because it was led, run, and managed by people who had their own mental health problems. Okay, so all of us could identify as having mental health problems at some point in our lives. And so, you know, it was a real passion for me, because when I needed support, the mental health system really let me down. So I was absolutely passionate about it, but I was working insane hours. But what happened was, you know, we developed this incredible project. We ran up, you know, we lost funding after 3 years, which was really heartbreaking, and it had to close. But when, you know, we had a closing party, we invited people back. And it's like, you know, when I reflected back on every single person who had stayed at the house, and I knew, I saw, you know, I knew every individual. We had something like over 170 people that had used it, and I knew every single person. And it's like, and then you were like, and then you see the difference that you've made in their lives. And, you know, and I've seen how people, you know, years later have gone on and flourished, and it's like, it was so worth it. It
magic.
was
It's
so worth
magic,
it.
isn't it? It's magic
Yeah.
because it's like the light. It's the light that you've ignited,
Yeah.
and then that light carries on. It's the ripples.
Yeah.
It's the ripples. It's not just that one person. It's that ripples out to their communities,
Yeah.
their families.
Yeah.
And you know, I think sometimes we underestimate the impact that just one person can have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So
yeah.
that's brilliant. So if you had to share your number one tip for anyone who's wanting to set up their own passion project, what would it be?
Oh, just do it. Just effing do it. I'm not going to swear, but
And when you said just do it, in my head I was going, yeah, just effing do
effing
it.
do it. Because do you know what? There's so many people out there and so many people that I talk to, and they have these fantastic ideas and they've got this burning passion inside of them, but they talk themselves out of it. They're like, I've not got the time, I've not got the resources, I've not got the money, I've not got they end up talking themselves out of it. And I can honestly tell you, I didn't have the time. You know, I was working full time. I had another business. I had a young child. I didn't have the time, but the desire was just so strong in me that it almost felt like, well, I can't ignore it,
Yeah.
you know, because it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And that's what will happen.
Yeah. It's
The
when the desire is stronger than the resistance or
fear.
the excuses. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the fear is just trying to keep us safe. It's not, you know, it isn't this, it just wants to keep us safe in this nice little bubble that we've got going on. But what I've learned along the way is just change is so good and so exciting. And, you know, I think sometimes we can feel like we've just got this one purpose and that's all that we're here for. when actually, you know, I definitely was meant to be a teacher in school. I definitely meant to do tropic. I definitely meant to do nurture garden. Who knows what other projects are going to come next?
Yeah.
And that's okay. That is all right to follow your passion.
Yeah, and it was I was interviewing someone the other day, and they used the term multi-passionate. And it's like, oh yeah, I can really identify with that, because it's not all about, right, I'm going to set up this and this is going to be it for life. It's like, no, I'm going to set up that, I'm going to get that going, and then I'm going to do something else and set that up and get that going. And so you've got all these lovely little pockets of passion projects all over the place. And that's what feeds your kind of soul and fulfillment, but also it's kind of like it's spreading it out to others as well. So Alysia, thank you so much for coming and sharing. Now, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, if anyone wants to understand more about the work that you do at the Nurture Garden, what's the best way of getting in touch with you?
So I will pop my website in the link, and people can contact me through that. I've also got a Facebook page that I post lots of free content, free videos. You know, I'm really kind of passionate about that as well. So please come along and join my Facebook page, the Nurture Garden. Yeah. So thank you so much for having me. This has been
You're
so
welcome.
lovely.
You are welcome. And I look forward to seeing how Soul School develops in the future. Thank you so much for joining us today. Has this podcast sparked an interest to create your own passion project? Remember, everyone has at least one within them, something that they have a strong desire to create or deliver, not always for profit, but for the sheer love of it. Your soul was designed in this way to help you find fulfillment in community energy. Sadly, what happens to many people is they get so caught up in survival, they forget why they chose to become physical in this time and space. But when you discover what passion projects lie within your soul, it triggers a massive uplift and a flow to inspiring energy. Basically, it feels really good and exciting, and you'll feel the momentum to take action, to create your own passion project. So if you're ready to start, have a look at all the ways that I can support you at www.thejanejackson.com. And here's one final thought to leave you with. When you create your own passion project, you are sharing love with the world around you, and that energy of love comes back to you to generate more flows to good energy and ultimate happiness for all.